My name is Johanna and I'm 20 years old and I've always lived in Twickenham. My grandfather insisted that his grandchildren went to private school. Well, I moved to St James from Ibstock when I was 14 to do my GCSEs there.
So as good as things seemed, 5 months ago I was asked to leave this house and unfortunately ended up homeless.
I felt a huge lack of parental support. I was calling around different council numbers to try and find some sort of emergency accommodation, a shelter, or even just a hardship payment from Universal Credit to help me. And there was no luck because of basically the history of having parents who are well off and being in private school made Universal Credit very difficult. I had nowhere else to go. So with my dad staying with friends and me unable to find someone to accommodate for myself and my dog, ended up living in a tent. So I was staying in the graveyard in Twickenham. I picked the graveyard because it is completely enclosed and I wanted to be able to have my dog off lead. So this was a real teaching moment for her. She actually got way more trained during this experience because she, I think, was definitely smart enough to appreciate what she had. Yeah, and know it can all disappear.
The past 4 years, this was my main place to take Kida. When I first came in, it was pretty comfortable as I spent a lot longer here than just living in a tent. This is the first tent I lived in. I just folded this up and slotted it behind a gravestone. Weirdly enough, it's still here.
When I got reported by a neighbouring house that could see the area I was camping in, I moved it into the back to hide it, so it wasn't an eyesore to them, because I think that was their only concern. But honestly, I didn't really think about people telling on me. I just kind of thought, well, I'm doing what I can to live right now. But yeah, once the police came, they just checked I was all right and they said, good, you got a guard dog, it's fine, and let me be.
Yeah, I didn't have many visitors, just my sister every now and then, check I'm all right.
There were a few people that asked if I was okay or if I had any future plans for staying in something other than a tent. Most people were just concerned, but there was one man who seemed to have different intentions when asking me about my living arrangement. This man was asking questions such as, who knows that you're staying here? How long will you be staying here for? Will you be alone tonight? And is your dog trained to protect you? It made me feel like I needed a weapon. I was scared he would come back with more people who would be able to restrain Kida and therefore leave me vulnerable. I just did not sleep and I had a weapon. Well, the biggest threat was probably getting raped by the drunk men who wander in and out of here late at night. So men, that was my fear. Yeah, I was scared, pretty miserable and uncomfortable when it was raining consistently. I couldn't even go to a homeless shelter to get food because it's indoors and you'd have to go in without a dog. I had stuff to cook with and I was able to go fill up my jugs of water in York House.
So this is how I'd get into my semi-secret area.
The memory I know I'm not going to forget, and it's honestly not really good or bad, but it would be setting up the tent. It was incredibly long and it was really difficult, but I guess the satisfaction I felt when it was up and I step out and it's completely hidden as well, which is exactly what I needed. And this was when everything was dry, and everything else around me was wet though, and it was just putting all my stuff in there and finally feeling Like, even though everything was still a mess, that was the most organized I had felt things were for a while.
When the weather first changed, it wasn't cold actually at night, just the rain. It started raining for days straight, which was mad to me because it was summer. Getting a waterproof tent was first step, but obviously not a long-term plan.
So I decided that I could apply to the American International School, knowing that they would be having way fewer applicants because nobody's traveling into the country. I knew I could definitely be doing more, and I did enjoy school a lot while I was there. So I applied to university on a phone, a pretty bad phone, so that on its own was really long and slow. In terms of charging it, there is literally a charging port where you can plug in things right next to York House. It only took me 2 days from deciding that I was going to apply to sending in a full application. It wasn't like a horrible option or something going back to school to have a roof over my head. I was really relieved when I received an email from them saying that you're enrolled. Forward that straight to the trust fund people and they got things in motion. I was able to move in about a week after that.
Yeah, a bit odd when I look at the now blank area that my tent once was in. Guess it feels good knowing that I've got an apartment now. That I'm not here during this cold, rainy weather.
Remember Keita? Yeah, from number 3 I've moved first. He's a good dog. Oh no, she's yours now.
Keita, what's this?
That's it, Keita.
Oh, that's not